kick in the first half. The Arsenal players dropped to the turf. Oh, it's been a massive effort from Arsenal in the second half. Likewise from Brighton, who allegedly have got nothing to play for, but they defended so well, and Arsenal just couldn't find a way through.
Yeah, no, that's a big disappointment, because I expected Arsenal to really win this game and play better, give more, show a bit more than this. But they started well the game. After scoring that penalty, it's kind of just thought it was going to be an easy game, which
it obviously was. I mean, it is strange, isn't it? You score early and sometimes you can get lulled into a false sense of security.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just, the thing is, you never, you're only 1-0 up, you never save, It's not like you're 2 or 3-0 up where you can kind of, relax a little bit more and take more time on the ball, and just, when you 1-0 up, and just a defensive kind of mistake, give a penalty away and then just end up drawing. And
I mean, there was some will say here that, Arsenal have lost 4 of the last 6 now, and only 1 win out of the last 6 in the league. Forget the Europa League, and we were 3rd ahead of that Everton fixture, beaten at Goodison Park, lost at home to Palace, beaten at Wolves, beaten at Leicester, drawn at home to Brighton, and we've only got ourselves to blame to a certain
massively.
extent.
And I just think when you see the others that drop so many points as well on the way, you just can't. You just had it all in your hand a few games ago, and you just blew it by, not performing, not lack of. A lot of things, concentration, individual mistakes, a lot of things that happened lately, and it cost you the top 4, really.
I mean, when we look at the Premier League table here, I mean, it's incredible to think all of the teams that have dropped points over the course of this run-in.
Well, yeah.
And Arsenal 67, Spurs now 70. The goal difference is 8. The difference is 8. I mean, that's too much, isn't it?
I think it's too much. Yeah, can't see.
I think it'd be too much if we had Burnley at home, let alone away from home.
Do you know what I mean? And I just feel, I don't think Spurs are in obviously a great form, but I can't see them losing 4 or 5-0 at home against Everton.
And Arsenal winning 4.
And Arsenal, exactly. So I think it's safe to say that it's just going to be very, very, very difficult, pretty much impossible, really.
Well, Arsenal still got Burnley to go, of course, in the Premier League, and we mentioned it during commentary, obviously, the Europa League, and it puts more pressure. I mean, I think a lot of us, myself included, or some of us, myself included, think that the job is almost done because we've won here 3-1, but it puts pressure on that second leg now.
I've played in that stadium. I've played in Valencia, when we lost John Carrigal
I remember that.
A long time ago. And trust me, that place is
second
electric.
Group stage, yeah.
And, what we've seen there on Thursday, it's not going to be the same down there. And as we know, games can just, red card, referee decision, whatever, can just completely change games. So listen, I'm confident, because obviously that 3rd goal give us a lot of confidence to go there and get the job done. But it's still going to be a tough game. And now that's the only way of getting Champions League next season. So we can't not turn up or have a bad game, or it's just got to be done there.
John's been on. Mystic John says, oh, well, I'm better off, but next season, no Ramsey, no money and no trophies. And John's not happy. And Andy Salter says, that's it for me. What a load of ... Plenty on pitch at the moment. I'm quite sure if we can show you these pictures or not. There will be a lap of appreciation. Many of the fans have stayed behind. 1 or 2 have headed for the exits here. One or two of the players have stayed on the pitch. There's a lot that have gone down in the dressing room.
I think you can see some of them
are just
on the bench.
Aren't
Just sitting on the bench. We just saw them, and they're all very disappointed, and they've realised that they've had a great opportunity to get 3 points this afternoon, and just and not to forget, confidence is major, and just finishing the season like this, going to Valencia with that disappointment in your mind as well, it's just not. It's not the best way of going there to get the job done there, you know.
No, certainly the players have hung around here. They will be making their way around the pitch, I think, in a few minutes' time. A hugely disappointing end to the league season. Still got one more game to go, obviously. One or two of the fans have stayed, as you can see. And the players will be returning shortly. I presume here. Nigel Mitchell, our reporter pitch side, I think he's going to introduce the women's team in just a second. They managed to beat Brighton in their last away game. They've got one more home game to come, of course, but the title has already been wrapped up. I think the women's team are about to be introduced to the team, and the women's team who haven't won the WSL since 2012. Joe Montemoro has done brilliantly with the women's side, and it's a feather in their cap that they've managed to win the league. And I don't think we can show you these pictures, but that's what's going to happen very shortly. Great achievement for the women. We're still a bit shocked and stunned, obviously, here. We hope to show you some pictures from Emirates Stadium, but nothing doing at the minute. How difficult is it to dwell? I'll ask you that shortly, Jeremy. We're going to go pitch side here because Nick's waiting for us. Arsenal Nation continuing pitch side.
Swing. I'm not confident, I'm not going to lie. I like to
Manchester City have done it.
I'm not confident.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bit much.
It's a bit much.
It's 4-0 away at Burnley and then a Spurs 4-0 loss at home.
It's not going to happen, is it? I mean, it's been really deflating, especially after that first half, because we were saying Brighton were well organised the entire game. Like Chris Hughton's side, they barely lose their shape, and as soon as they got that equaliser, I mean, it was just 10 men behind the ball, and you kind of slowly start to see the writing on the wall, and it's just, now you've stood it, you just can't quite believe it, right? Because there was hope, there was belief, and now it's all gone wrong.
Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of the fans at full time were frustrated. We heard a few boos here in the stadium, and it's a bit of a weird thing. We've got to be honest, you know, we're here pitch side because there's the lack of appreciation.
Absolutely.
Which is about to happen. Actually, the players are directly behind where I'm looking at you now. The players are directly behind, that's where the bench is. And they all look dejected. We're dejected here, you know.
It's a stadium-wide thing, right? I think, again, we came up in the second half. We were saying it. Maybe they get a couple more. Maybe they'll, you know, bring in that goal difference a bit. But again, to walk away 1-1, it's a great result for Brighton. I mean, I don't think they played particularly well, but they played to their strength, which was, again, by the end, Arsenal were kind of trying to, especially from corners. Arsenal had about 3 corners in 5 minutes at one point. And again, somebody in the first half mentioned, oh, stop doing short corners, and they did. They started pelting them in, but the problem is the Brighton backline is so tall, like that old school defender, they were just knocking it away, and eventually, I think we just ran out of ideas.
Do you think that the Brighton penalty was a penalty? Because obviously we've had 2 decisions here, penalty decisions, that have, you know, changed the game completely in both halves. People were saying the Arsenal one was soft. Was the Brighton one soft as well?
Yeah, again, I mean, I made the cliche, it balances out, right? Yeah. It literally balanced out in the second half. I think you'll find someone that will say yes, and you'll find someone who says no for each of them. Like, even with something like VAR, I bet you would have people debating it. And I think that kind of sums up this game. It was the second half especially, I mean, all credit to Arsenal. It was all Arsenal at one point. They were absolutely trying to smash down that door. But again, even though Brighton had nothing to play for, it felt like they were playing for pride. And they're like, we don't need to get another goal. In fact, that chance at the end, my word, when, I can't remember who it was now, when Leno made that amazing save, thank goodness he did. That was a proper flash before my eyes, because even though we are probably out of the top 4 races we've talked about, losing would have been so much worse, especially because we do still have the Europa League. That's the thing. We've got to have an amazing showing against Valencia in the week. We've got to go to the final. We've got to win, because then this all evaporates. Because next season, always you remember, is Champions League money, Champions League players, and hopefully a better season than we've had at this one.
Yeah, the players are just gathering now, just over there, outside of the tunnel. Looks like there's going to be a guard of honour of some kind. I'm guessing probably for, this is just a pure guess because I have no idea what's going on, but I'm guessing maybe for Petr Cech. I see Gunnosaurus has just come out of the tunnel. Might be for him.
Finally, why not, man? He could be the longest serving person in the club at the moment. He knows what he's doing. I'll go around and force the Gunnosaurus. I miss Gunnosaurus. I guess that also is the last home game of the season, isn't it? So I was going to say it is nice they're respecting the fans a little bit, but also, again, I don't think the fans are particular, and nor should they be, right? It is a disappointing day for Arsenal. There's no point pretending otherwise. It sucks. We wanted to win here. We wanted to go into the last day of the season feeling confident about what we could achieve. Yeah.
Well, we can see over here that there's a guard of honour happening for the Arsenal ladies, I believe, who have collecting their WSL trophy and showing it off here. So to get you pumped for that moment, we can see.
Danny Welbeck. It's not the Arsenal ladies.
Manchester United back in 2014. He's since gone on to make 88 league appearances for the club, scoring
crucial goals along the way. Danny is an extremely popular member of the squad, and his presence will be missed in the dressing room. We wish him every success for the future as he now receives a parting gift from the club. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Welbeck. And next, please will you welcome Petr Cech. Well, back in January, Petr announced his decision to retire at the end of this season. Since then, he has continued to make a big contribution to Arsenal Football Club, particularly in our ongoing Europa League campaign. Petr has been an extraordinary player during his 15 years in the Premier League and an exemplary professional both on and off the pitch. He's been a fantastic ambassador for Arsenal, Chelsea and the Czech Republic, and will always hold a special place in the affections of football fans around the world. This great goalkeeper now receiving a gift from the club and also being officially inducted into the prestigious Arsenal 100 Club. Ladies and gentlemen, Petr Cech. And now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Aaron Ramsey. Aaron joined Arsenal Football Club back in 2008 from Cardiff City. He's gone on to make a fantastic contribution here at Emirates Stadium and Wembley. Has always been a consummate professional. He will forever have a special place in the hearts and memories of Arsenal fans around the world. Aaron is set to join Juventus in the summer, and everyone at Arsenal Football Club wishes you, Aaron, a very happy and successful future. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Ramsey! Best of luck, Aaron. Thank you very much indeed for everything. Now, the first team will remain in their guard of honour as we welcome back the Premier League South under-18 winners, the squad from the Arsenal under-18s. And now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please put your hands together for Arsenal Women, the FA WSL champions! remarkable season in the Women's Super League. The Arsenal women's team crowned WSL champions last Sunday after a 4-0 win against Brighton and Hove Albion in their penultimate game. It's been 7 years since our last league triumph, and this season, Joe Montemuro's side beat Manchester City to the top spot with a game to spare. Emirates Stadium, once again, let's hear it for your FA WSL champions, Arsenal! Now, just ahead of the lap of appreciation, the teams will make their way into the centre circle for a group photo. So all teams make their way into the centre circle for the group photo. And if you look up to the director's box, that is where our cameras are waiting to take the group photo with the Arsenal first team, the under-18s, and the Arsenal women's squad as well. And then our Arsenal teams will make their way around the pitch to thank you for your magnificent support this season in their lap of appreciation.
Well, welcome back, and there is Aaron Ramsey taking the applause of the crowd, and we have to say, Jeremy, a tear in his eye. I mean, he has been such a good player for the Gunners. You can see he is absolutely choked up about leaving. I reckon he didn't think he'd feel a bit this way, and he's gone through an awful lot with Arsenal Football Club. The bad injury a few years ago, he's battled his way back. He's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League and has been excellent when he's been fit. We know he's had 1 or 2 injury issues. Juventus are still getting a very, very good player, aren't they?
Oh, they're getting a fantastic player, you know. It's just, obviously as an Arsenal man, it's just a shame seeing them kind of players leaving, leaving the club after exactly so many years. You know, you just think he was one of the true, Arsenal that have been there for many years and that, knew the club, had such a good relationship with the fans as well. You can see how much everybody's here just appreciate what he's done for the club, and we'll miss him.
Yeah, Aaron Ramsey moving around the rest of the players as well. Ramsey's think his kids there as well. I'm sure he'll enjoy it in Turin. Juventus, of course, the Serie A champions. They were knocked out of the Champions League by Ajax, who are steamrolling everyone at the moment. Aaron will obviously bolster that midfield, but of course he came back in the summer of 2008 from Cardiff, had that injury, went on loan back at Cardiff, of course, and he played 262 Premier League games for the Gunners, 40 goals as well, and some fantastic strikes as well in his time. And for my money, he's almost like a last of a dying breed. He's a box-to-box midfielder. He gets beyond your striker. He's the player that runs into the penalty area from midfield, and there ain't that many who can do that.
No, there's not many that can do that, and he's such a team player as well. You can see he's unselfish. He works for the others. It's just always see a good pass as well, make runs, and just work hard and always fight for the team, which it's priceless, and it's just very very sad to see him go.
Ramsey is a former Arsenal Player of the Year. You can see 1 or 2 of the other players here, the fans as well, who have stayed, and there's certainly plenty who are here just to give their appreciation to the players who, look, we know it was disappointing today as we just look at Kolasinac and Torreira walking around, but I mean, Arsenal players tried to a man in that second half. I know, you give a penalty away and people are going to start pointing the finger, but there was a lot of effort, I think, in the game today.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of effort. It's just just a little something missing to get through them games without putting yourself in them situation. But you can't just doubt the effort and the work rate that the players, done during this game. They've obviously done everything they could to win. And they're as disappointed as every fan in the stadium not winning today.
There is Kolasinac. He was almost frozen out at the start of the season. He's done well to sort of win a place back. Mesut Ozil, a glimpse of, he's always going to divide opinion. I thought he drove on Arsenal well today, and I think the last few games after, you know, turn of the year, looked like he might not play again for the club. I think he's sort of rededicated himself, maybe. I
think it might have been a lot of things going on at the training ground as well. You know, he might have showed Unai Emery that he was up for more, you know, running, more defensive work, more, I don't know, just show him the manager a little bit more. And it's just, it's just good to see that he's back on form and back playing, because that's, you know, you can't have a player like Mesut Ozil and not have him in a squad at least, you know. Just you want them, the best player, to be on the pitch playing, performing.
There's Aubameyang and Mom. Now, you've got to remember, it's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's first full season at the club. He came in January last year, and he's hit the ground running. He scored goals, 20 Premier League goals in his first full season. He's a fantastic finisher, as we saw again today. People have emailed in and talked about how much surgery Arsenal need to their squad. When you look at the attacking talent and the top two, well, I'll keep them. They're arguably the best in the Premier League.
For sure, there's no better duo in the Premier League. I think right. as a duo of front players is not, no better in any other clubs. So you definitely got to, base your team around them two. And find a way of having them two playing together every single game, and not putting one wide on the left. Try to have them as a partner.
As a partnership. Can you do that in the modern Premier League, do you think?
Well, we've been doing it quite a lot lately with 3 defenders, 2 wing back, 2 central midfield, Ozil behind them 2 up there, and it seems to kind of work. I know we didn't always get the result, but I think.
It's a system to work on, isn't it?
That's it. You've got the all summer now to maybe get few players in that can adapt to that system and stick with it and work on it in the beginning of pre-season and really get all the players to work on that particular system.
Danny Welbeck, we can see they're just knocking the ball around. It's a real disappointment that Danny has ended his career injured at Arsenal, but we wish him well. Jeremy, we wish you well for now as well. Really enjoyed your company over the course of this campaign. It's goodbye from me for now. I'll be at Burnley for you. We're going to head back down to Nick pitchside for the final time. Nick, all yours.
Yeah, some emotional scenes behind us as the players take their lack of appreciation, the players and staff here. Miller's still with me, of course. Emotional seeing Aaron Ramsey, getting the big reception here. A lot of Arsenal fans really happy. Nobody really wants him to go.
Henry Trump, can you make yourself known to the nearest steward? That's Henry Trump from Billericay.
You don't see it very often.
Nearest steward. Thank you, Henry.
Into a bit of perspective too. I really think this was a bit like a transitional period. I mean, we said at the start of the season, now even more so. What next season holds is going to be interesting. But that really was, and obviously it was very emotional for Aaron Ramsey as well. He was in tears. Clearly, maybe a guy that not 100% sure that he wants to go. Obviously, that's just the situation. The club and him couldn't come to an agreement. It's an interesting situation because today we could have used a player like Aaron Ramsey. So we'll have to see what happens. I think that this really was Emery's, again, just settling in season. I think he wants to build his own team. Clearly willing to make some difficult and controversial decisions. We'll see, man. It's going to be really, really interesting. Really interesting.
And a word on Petr Cech as well. Obviously, he's retiring at the end of the season. We saw he was part of the Guard of Honour there. Getting a big clap. Model professional, being one of the top keepers in the Premier League for a long time, not just for Arsenal but at Chelsea as well. So sad to see him go.
Yeah, but there's a kind of different with him, isn't there? Because he has such a good career. He's won everything you could want to win. And like I say, it's quite incredible that he was able to cement himself at Chelsea and come over here for the last few seasons and become a fan favourite too, which says a lot for him and how good he is at his job. So yeah, but again, it's a whole. Next season's going to be completely different, and I kind of maybe didn't really realise that until I saw all this happening now. And you're like, oh man, yeah, loads of people are out the door, and Emery clearly has some kind of plan. I don't think you make those kind of decisions without having some kind of a plan.
Yeah.
I don't know what direction it's going to go in.
Well, it's all on Valencia now, really, isn't it? The second leg on Thursday. How are you feeling? You know, are you feeling any different after seeing the game today?
I mean, I think we've still got to be confident. I said earlier that I thought we were going to win the Europa League based on weird football gut feelings. There's no point using this result as a reason to not get confident about what we're doing or what we can do against Valencia. We've already beaten them once here, which goes to show me what a difference 2 games that was. Maybe they tie in, maybe their minds are on that game. And maybe you can argue that's, I wouldn't say it's an easier route, not at all, but maybe it's a more direct route. You know, get through Valencia, face, I would say, probably likely Chelsea in the final, which they can win, again, on a ground that is completely neutral.
Yeah.
And then it won't matter. This result won't matter if we're starting back in August and we're in the Champions. That's all we'll care about. We're in the Champions League. And then we can see what the squad is like. We can see what Emery's plans are. But obviously right now, absolutely 100% correct. The Europa League and Valencia is everything.
Pivotal.
Let's hope the pressure doesn't get too much.
Yep. Well, Simon Miller, thank you for joining us today on Arsenal Nation Live. It's been a pleasure having you on as well.
Thanks,
I've
dude.
very much enjoyed it.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
I look forward to coming and speak to you about some wrestling. Maybe you can,
absolutely, always. That's all I am.
Give me some fitness tips.
We'll start slamming each other around the Emirates and get kicked out of here in about 2 seconds.
I need it. Right, so our final home game didn't go the way that we wanted it to. It looks like we're out of the top 4 race, so it is all on Valencia on Thursday for the second leg of our Europa League tie. You can catch us back on Arsenal Nation Live then. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.